Hello, everyone. Hello, and welcome. Tales from the Foxholes bringing you Night's Black Agent Solo, which I'm very excited about. I'm excited for all of you here to be here, and I have a couple of things we have to say. First thing I want to say is thank you all for being patient as we were doing behind-the-scenes, last-minute excitement. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Luckily for you, we will be here next week as well, and depending how long it takes for our intrepid hero to finish this operation, it might be 3 weeks. I don't know. I never know how long it takes for our heroes to finish their business. We do have a hatless Greg. We do indeed, and Greg also shaved just for this show. So, before we get all into it, I need to say a couple of things. First off, thank you for being here and supporting Tales from the Foxhole. It's the summer, and I wanted to do some new things, and so I'm doing a Night's Black Agents here on Fridays and some Spy Team 67 on Sundays. But this is... No, I won't say that yet. I'm not going to wax philosophical about how great this is yet. Instead, I will say, if you want to support us, there are multiple ways to do that. You can tweet out. We send out a live retweet. You can let people know that we're here so they can watch it. You can join our Discord and hang out with us. You can give tips and bits, and I will read out any messages, tips and bits messages when we get to the intermission at the end. You can also join our Patreon, which goes to help pay for the cast of these shows and for graphic designers and all of that goodness and artists, etc. So that's all the ways you can do that. At the moment, you can't give channel points in this show, but you can do something else. But that we won't talk about till we get there. When we get there, you'll know. I'll let you know too, but just so you know. Okay, so that is our overall thing. Let me say something about what we're going to do today. So this is Night's Black Agent Solo, which is the second Gumshoe one-to-one system by Pelgrane Press, which means it is specifically built for one player and one GM. And I am very excited to have Grimjack be my one player. Guinea pig, victim, you know, there are multiple options here, and I'm very excited for him to be that person because he's an amazing role player if you do not know him, and a brilliant mind, a great GM as well, and I am excited to put him through the ringer. You know, yes, that's what I mean. Look, here's the thing about Gumshoe 1-to-1: you cannot die until the end of the operation. At the end of the operation, you certainly can die or turn into a thrall of vampires or have other terrible things happen to you, but you can't die before the end of the operation. So that is something that Greg can feel comfortable with. At least for now, until we get there. We use sort of cards, problem cards, edge cards to let you know where you're at, how you're doing. And I don't roll. The player does. I will let our player know what their advance number is. If they hit that number, they advance, which is good for them. That means they get what they want, and they probably get an edge as well. There is another number, which is the hold number, and they don't know what that number is. So you can either advance, which means yay, get a hold, which is like, middling, or you get a setback, which is bad. And if they get a number that's less than their advance, they just have to decide if they want to spend their resources or if they think it's good enough. We'll find out. I'm excited for that. And this is basically Night's Black Agents is a vampire spy thriller. It's a bit of a horror game where agents who had worked for various espionage groups have been burned because they have learned in some way about a vampire conspiracy because it turns out vampires are real, and it turns out they're not very nice. These are all things to know about vampires. They also control quite a bit of the world, and they don't like it when people find out about their machinations. And so our hero will have to try to deal with these vampires the best that they can. Survive, perhaps get some revenge, perhaps, save the world, or, well, we'll see. Why don't we start, however, with a little bit of a moment. Let me see, where are my papers? I think I might have a pen right here. Yes, that is correct. Yes. Now, I also have a keyboard, but that's not what I need at the moment. That's for my actual notes. This is for my not actual notes. Maybe it is. We will see. Greg, would you introduce yourself and tell us the name of the character you're playing? That's it for the moment. Just the name. And anything else you might want to tell us.
All I can say is, everybody, I am coming off a bout of COVID, so I apologize if my voice comes in and out, but I am feeling the best I've felt in nearly a month. Tonight, back here in the foxhole with my buddy, with this great community. I am super duper happy to be role playing in this system that is absolutely fantastic. Grimjack 21502. I will be playing Quinton, Archangel Gabriel.
So, let me see what my notes have to say. Relax. Are you feeling all right?
Oh, I'm peachy.
Good. I see here your name is Quinton Archangel Gabriel. Is that correct?
It is correct.
Good. Would you like something to drink?
I'm good.
Just lean back in the chair. You're safe here. Let me ask you a few questions, just a background intake, so I just have a sense of, just to sort of get to know you a little bit better, if you don't mind.
Shoot.
So, from the records here, you are no longer with your agency. The exact agency name has not been listed. CIA, FBI. What organization were you in?
Yes.
Yes, I see. Oh, and please be rest assured that we have complete patient doctor confidentiality. Nothing that you say here will leave this space.
I'm sure.
And I'm sure. I understand that you've been through quite a few traumatic incidences, and please note I do have clearance, so it's all right for you to talk to me, but of course nothing that you say will make it out to anyone else.
Right.
Good. So you were in one of the agencies. No longer. Might I ask, what... It says here you were discharged under less than honorable circumstances. Could I ask you what happened?
Lost my team.
Go on.
This is a safe space, right?
Yes.
They were killed. I allowed that to happen.
That seems like you're taking responsibility that might not be yours. Were you the team leader?
I was.
You see. Was this Afghanistan? Where were you working?
Eastern Europe.
Eastern Europe. Ah, I see. I'm sure that's been difficult. Special ops, I assume.
Sure.
So, if you wouldn't mind telling me, how many people were in your team?
8.
8. Do you remember their faces?
Yes.
Their names?
Yes. I remember their laughs. I remember what Linda sounded like just before she found out her favorite baseball team, the Pittsburgh Pirates, won. I remember what type of cigarettes Smitty smoked and how bad they stank. I remember.
How long had you been working with them?
4 years.
4 years. That's a long time.
It was a good run.
What happened? I'll be taking notes. I wouldn't.
Of course. When you're in my line of work, you solve problems.
Mm-hmm.
But the old adage is, your job only ends when you find a problem you can't solve. We found one.
I have a question for you. Do you know where you are right now?
No.
You can't be in a therapist's office, at least not with me. After all, you haven't seen me in years. Perhaps I'm in your head?
That's what I was thinking.
Does that bother you at all?
No, I think I finally met a problem I couldn't solve.
Maybe. So, what happened?
Then?
Yes.
Sinclaire happened.
Oh, that name.
Yeah, that name.
I remember, or maybe you remember. It's unclear. When you mentioned that name to me the first time, a few years ago, I think it was, and I didn't recognize the name. But I recognize it now, of course, because we've had this conversation before.
Right.
Was a ruins, a crypt, was it?
We didn't know that. We thought it was... Yes, it was a crypt.
Crypt. What was the official mission that you were given?
Retrieve a hostage. Eliminate the kidnappers.
You did a lot of counterterrorism, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yes. But this one was different. This operation was different.
Yeah.
How?
We didn't solve it.
It was dark. If I remember. If you remember correctly. How did it start?
We were fanning out, silent, like we always do. Exits were covered. We were moving in on the position. The intel was solid. The asset that had given it to us had never let us down before. I don't like dealing with company assets. They are unreliable, so we had our own, a network. Solid things you build over 4 years. It's like your own company, and not a company of soldiers. I'm talking CEO, CFO.
That CFO of that one company. You remember. I think it was a drinking competition. You drank from the table. I think that started that relationship.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm getting lost in your thoughts, in your memories. You had good intel. You were moving in towards the ruins.
Yeah, it was easy. It was a fan out. It was something that we had seen 100 times before. We weren't taking it, we weren't being careless. Everybody was covered. Everybody was silent. But there wasn't a hostage.
There wasn't.
No.
No. What was there?
A lie. Legend. For my whole life, I thought I lived in the shadows and saw the world that no one else saw, that I did things and saved societies. I didn't know a thing.
No. You've seen movies, of course.
Yeah.
It's not the same. What was the first moment you knew that it wasn't going the way it had gone before?
Comm check went down. First, I thought it was the interference of being underground, but it was not.
And then it got
Bravo
cold.
team.
Yes?
Temperature dropped by at least 15 degrees.
Go on.
It was on us in a breath.
Fast.
No, fast is too slow a word. It just was. Like it had always been, wrist deep in Brian, that it had always been raking nails across the throat of Heather. It was there always. We just hadn't seen it. That fast.
I don't remember. Who gave you this location?
O'Rourke.
Yes. Yes, it was O'Rourke. Yes. How did it not kill us? I'm sorry. I mean you.
Should have. I think he probably wishes that he had. But I fell into a cistern, or the water was rushing around me and it carried me quick, but not quick enough. Not his type of fast. But he just watched me from the lip and laughed and waved as I was swept away.
Yes, that's right, he waved. I wonder why he
And
laughed.
He wasn't enjoying himself. The laugh was almost like a punctuation mark. That's how he had to end it, like a period or a question mark. He had to laugh.
You shot him, right?
Yeah.
It didn't do anything, though.
Not unless you count making him laugh.
I don't like to count that. It's distressing. Why do you think it was your fault? Why do you blame yourself?
O'Rourke said he had a cold. At the time, it didn't seem wrong to me. Now it seems like it was a sign. Now that I know what I know, what they do to people like us, me, us.
Yes. I'm afraid our session isn't over. You left Prague.
Yes.
You reported back in.
Yes.
What happened?
There was an inquiry. I was ultimately cleared. My record saving me from disciplinary action. But because of my age and my failure, I was asked to leave.
Yes. I feel as if there was something, maybe something else on the walls of the crypt. I dimly remember maybe a location, maybe.
Yeah.
In Prague, somewhere.
Yeah, what did I tell you?
A location. It was a graveyard. I think.
Yeah.
We came through there on the way out. We left, I think. There was something in there. It wasn't Sinclaire. No, I'm sorry. We have to do this systematically. You thought
Okay.
you thought you were done. You thought you were done. You were discharged. And we went home. What did we do when we went home?
I don't have anybody. I'm not married. You know that.
Yes. No, you did have someone. You had family.
Yeah. Sister and stepbrother.
Yes. Your parents are dead.
Yeah.
They died a long time ago.
Yeah.
You remember the funeral?
I do. I don't remember their faces, though.
No. I don't either. You haven't. You know, you never told me what happened. I suppose it's because after you were discharged, we no longer spoke to each other. Well, maybe once or twice. Off the books.
Where am I?
Oh. You don't want to think about that right now. Or the thing. Do you? No.
No.
No. It's more comforting to think about your sister and her family. How many children?
2.
2. Her husband. What was his name?
Ray.
Ray. You visited with them afterwards.
I went to their house.
Yes. Because everything was over, you thought so. You escaped. Whatever that was. Sinclaire.
I thought.
How long did you stay with them?
They were dead when I got there.
How long did you stay with them?
2 days.
Why did you leave in the end?
Because they were dead.
But you stayed 2 days. Was it the police?
Yeah.
They came around looking.
Yeah.
But I was gone by the time they came. I mean, you were gone.
Right.
Yes. It, didn't look like a robbery.
It looked like the crypt.
There were photographs on the walls.
Yes.
You remember. Your sister, her family, going to work at school.
He was hunting them.
He was. But those weren't the only photographs in her home.
No.
No. There were other photographs.
My stepbrother and his family.
Yes.
Me.
Yes. That's when you went to find your stepbrother, yes?
After 2 days, yes.
You found him.
He had been dead for a day.
If we'd only left, maybe we could have saved him.
Yeah.
But that seems like wishful thinking. Do you think that you could have stopped Sinclaire?
Not then.
No. Not then. Your apartment, photographs of your apartment, of you, of friends.
He never came for me.
No. That's not how he works, is it?
No. That's what I learned.
How did we find his name?
I started reading, talked with people that knew about this world.
It's bad.
But it's always been there.
Yes.
That kind of fast.
World War II. Something happened then, too. One of your contacts said something. I don't remember exactly what it was. It seemed you weren't sleeping a lot for a while.
No.
It seems some time was hazy, a lot of preparations, searching. Being proactive, of course, makes everything easier. Right?
I didn't have anything else.
No. If you're not the, if you're the hunter, you're not the hunted.
I pretended to be the hunter then. I am the hunter now.
Yes. You're hunting right now. Right?
Am I?
I think you are. Feels cold out. Of here.
About 15 degrees.
Yes. I'm sure it's fine. Let me ask you, because I feel like something successful would be nice. You found Sinclaire.
I did.
Yes. Where was he?
In the basement of a hotel. Like
Yeah.
it was the penthouse.
Yes. How did we get everyone out? We needed a distraction.
High School 101. Fire alarm.
Yes. Yes. And then I went in. When you went in. To the basement. There was something else. I don't remember. You'd prepared.
Prepared for them both.
Yes.
Thralls and him.
Yes. One of them was desperate to save him. Didn't matter. Thralls are easier to kill, aren't they?
Like night and day.
Yes. Relive that moment, how you did it. How you killed
While he watched.
Sinclaire.
Last thrall was bleeding out. Reaching towards this thing. Like a lover. Like a child to a mother. I remember I had taken the pinky finger off. It had put its hand up when I shot. And so just its ring, middle and fore, reached towards Sinclaire in this plea. I think he had wished then that he had killed me instead of toying and playing with me like a cat. The blade that I used came from ornamentation of an Eastern Orthodox church that had been burned in one of the wars, that it had melted it, but it had never been. It was still holy.
Yes.
I made it sharp.
Yes.
I found from then till then that there was so many ways to hurt or kill them. Most of them were bullshit, but this one worked. I think it worked.
Did it work? Yes.
Cut his head. It cut his head off.
Yes.
He did that.
Yes. Yes. That's what they say. To kill a vampire, you have to cut off its head.
Right.
Yes. You killed a vampire once. Not Sinclaire, a different one. You cut off its head. And it crumbled to dust. I remember.
Yes.
Yes. Shovel, I think.
Yeah.
Sinclaire didn't crumble to dust, though.
He didn't. He turned into fog. Mist.
Fog.
He wasn't ash. One of them was ash.
Yes.
It was.
One was. There was a conspiracy. You have to follow the lines, the threads, and you tracked them to Sinclaire. You had to find another vampire that knew where to find Sinclair. Paris, I think. People, their thralls that work with them, and you found one piece of the thread to another piece of the thread, and then I found that vampire and I cut off its head and it turned to ash, but that vampire knew where to find Sinclair, always moving at the hotel in Paris. And then we killed its thralls.
Right.
We had a relic.
Right.
Yes. But it didn't turn to ash.
It's vapor.
Vapor. Why?
It's the same thing, right?
Yes, it was a different location. You don't know why it looked different, but Sinclaire hasn't been back.
No.
Dead. Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's true. Yes. And once you killed Sinclaire, there was nothing left to do, right? We were done. You were done. You found peace, and you retired, and you could go back to your life, and you could go to a beach and listen to music and dance, and that's what you did, right? That's what you did.
No.
I tried.
I know.
You didn't.
There are more of them. Sinclaire wasn't the end of the thread.
No. No. I'm afraid not. That's why you kept looking for threads. but you couldn't find many trails.
They were hidden.
Yes.
I think they knew about Sinclaire. I think they knew that I was climbing.
Yes. There's something bigger here. So maybe what you did was you went back. You tried to retrace your steps. The things you'd done before. Maybe you remembered about that name, place in the crypt. The place. Yes.
On the wall.
On the wall. It was the Devil's Tomb. Yes.
Right.
It was the Devil's Tomb. It took you a while to find out what that was. I think you'd been there once, in a dream. Oh, I'm sorry. I think our time is up.
Wait a minute.
No, I don't think you can stay here any longer.
I need a...
No.
The Devil's Tomb, but where did I...
Oh. I think you have to snap out of it. You'll see me again, maybe.
I need help. I'm by myself.
No. You're not by yourself.
My group's gone. My family's gone. Just a little longer. Just talk.
It's so cold out there, though.
We will walk fast. We'll...
Quinton.
Yeah.
You can remember me. But you don't remember the last time you saw me.
No,
You've blocked that out.
Are you okay?
Am I okay? Are you okay? No. Quinton. I know that you believe you'll find answers. Going over all the ashes. You'll find out what it means. You'll make some kind of sense out of your life. All the loss and the death won't be for nothing. If you can just find who pulls the strings. Remember the things you've forgotten.
How?
You don't sleep enough.
I don't have anybody to watch over me.
No. You used to.
Yeah.
But they're gone.
Yeah.
They're gone.
They're gone.
But are they?
I don't know.
They just went missing. Maybe it's better that way. Right? Anybody who's too close to you ends up dead. So maybe missing's better than dead.
Maybe.
No.
Maybe dead's better.
Maybe. The city of 100 spires, Prague. It's been too many years. I have to let you go, but I don't remember how many years it took me to find Sinclaire. I should write that down. That's important. How many years?
3.
3 years. I don't remember how long it's been since we've killed him. I'm sorry. Since you killed him.
2.
2. Yes. 5 years. Since everything fell apart. Do you have your comms?
I do, yeah.
Yes. You made preparations for this.
Did.
Yes, yes. Remember. There's a difference between a contact and an asset. Contacts, you can trust more. They're people you have a relationship with. Contacts, assets are just to be used. You can't trust them. And you can't get attached to them.
I know.
I want you to know I'm always here. If you need me.
Maybe just check in from time to time.
I will. When you close your eyes a little bit, you can chat with me anytime you like. I have a clearance, after all, and this space is safe. In here.
Okay.
But it isn't safe out there. And it's time to go. I'm sorry. But your time is up. I hope you can find me sometime. I'm a bit lost.
Oh, look.
It's
Thank you.
Cold. Yes. Prague is the city of 100 spires. And it is the city of alleyways and secret ways, of conspiracies and antique ruins. And you are in a graveyard. You're staking out the devil's tomb. You remember it referenced in the crypt. It meant something to Sinclaire, this place. You found it. It's familiar. Perhaps in a dream. You saw it. I don't know. But Sinclaire's smell is in this place. Somehow. Maybe. You'd heard rumors from one of your contacts, Zelenka. Said there was suspicious activity at the Devil's Tomb. And, so you made it here to stake it out. Yes, but there's details that have to be taken care of first. Yes, we need to choose a starting problem. There are, let me, if you don't mind, grab a blank problem, because I have another option for you based on, well, I think you know about your past, your history. I have another problem for you. It is... You have this one you don't need. This one. There are 3 possible starting problems for you, Quinton. One is snooping around. It's a heat problem. Someone's been digging into your past, ferreting out your secrets, find out who's been looking at your history. That could be your starting problem. Or the castle dream. It's a shadow problem. You had a strangely vivid dream of walking over rocky, sun-baked hills, up a goat path, and there was someone waiting somebody was walking just behind you, beside you, but you couldn't see his face, only his glowing red eyes. It was a vampire, and they were real, and they trespassed in your dreams. Or the third problem, haunted, a shadow problem. And you'll never be sure if you killed the vampire. Sinclaire, and the memory of his red eyes haunts your dreams. And you can only get rid of this problem if you find proof of Sinclair's demise. Let me ask you, what of these 3 problems might be your problem? What are you doing?
I was going to ask Robin for some help.
Oh, I see. You may.
Robin, are you there?
Robin? He can see you now. You may speak to him. Is your algorithm working? I think Robin can hear you.
Robin, what should I pick here? I'm thinking the castle with the red eyes in the dream, but let's reach an agreement. What's the best probability of success here?
Robin is a Gestalt AI, a conglomeration of many personalities, simulated, of course. Lightning Invoker, Hawkeye, Otherdock, Valtiel, Ice Bunny, Coruscant. These are shades of beings that exist inside the internet, all pieces of computing. Robin, when you access, you still have access.
Somehow, yeah.
Yes. Robin, what do you say? Someone snooping around the castle dream, or haunted? Let me see. I believe I may be able to. May I? Can I? Robin is speaking to you. You may speak to Robin.
Robin, I know this isn't part of your programming, but you're all I've got. I need help. I need someone to talk to. I'm getting in the weeds here. I'm losing the thread. I need you now more than ever.
I think Robin is polling. Robin is polling, I believe. Yes. I think it's called computing. Yes. Robin. They're very good with AI nowadays, aren't they? Making it seem as if they're almost real people. Not just very complicated algorithms. The computations seem to last only 10 more seconds, perhaps? Something like that. Yes. Oh. It is done. Yes. Robin. Their calculations. We can call them people if that makes you feel better. This is the castle dream.
Then that it is.
Then that is. Let me ask you, in this moment, do you remain connected, distracted?
Even though he would probably not actively be engaging Robin, the comm to Robin or the link to Robin in his comms is always on.
Yes. But you are undistracted. In the cemetery, there was some strange reports. Your starting problem is the castle dream. You have a contact, Zelenka, a gravedigger at the Prague cemetery, who is an expert in archaeology, history, occult studies, vampirology. It is the witching hour, the middle of the night. It's autumn, and it is cold. And you are staking out the Alsani cemetery, where the Devil's Tomb should be. You remember this place, perhaps, from a dream. Or at least you remember maybe in a diary entry, a calendar. Sinclaire had a note on this, I think. Might have been on the wall, might have been in the basement, the hotel, but there was something here. The memories are a bit unclear. Zelenka. Old. Paranoid? This is superstitious. He's occult obsessive, but then again...
He's a gravedigger?
He is.
For this cemetery?
Yes.
Where is he?
Oh. That's a question I have to ask you. Did you ask him to accompany you, the old man? Or did you tell him to stay home tonight?
Quinton slowly, kind of like reverse military crawls back from the small hill between the stones towards the shadow of a corner of an upright mausoleum to where Zelenka is. There's nothing here.
I don't think this is so, my friend. Listen, I heard strange rumors about grave robbers and occult ceremonies involving blood. I walk through this place and I've seen blood smeared on certain gravestones, different patterns of gravestones, and graves robbed in this place.
The same stones? Stones that were desecrated, were they the ones that were unearthed?
No. I don't know. They made a pattern, I think. I can't always think the patterns. I don't know what it means. But something is wrong in this place, and so I remember you said if I heard anything in Prague, I should tell you. I reached out. It's
no, that was good. It was, but there's nothing here, not now.
So,
take me to the stones. Show me the mark.
Okay, but what about all of this? And let me ask you, what preparations you made before you got on this operation? Did you use any of your skills before here to set yourself up? If so, what skills might you have used before you got here?
Well, since this is an outdoor setting, even though it's more of a kind of a bleed between urban and civilization and outdoor being a graveyard, he would make sure that he had the lay of the land as far as cover sites, especially not just for firearms, but for things like fast approaches, and by fast, Sinclaire fast. And so there's no real way to cover a wide area, but he would make sure that if there was a bottleneck or a funnel somewhere, he would have strung silvered razor wire wired about neck length around 2 or 3 trees or 2 mausoleum stones, somewhere that if he had to retreat to, he could set a trap.
You have 3 pushes that you start off with. Would you like to spend 1 push to represent having gotten a lot of help from Zelenka on the layout of this space and all of the details of it? Yes? Please spend that push. And let me give you a present in that case.
Just go ahead and delete it, right?
Yes, please. You have the edge, like the back of a dead hand. Which, would you read it out?
Absolutely. You've scoped out the necropolis ahead of time. Discard to automatically advance on any non-combat challenge or to counter any non-injury problem encountered in the cemetery.
Yes, as you set up traps. Let me ask you some other questions. You have, before you got here, you had, I don't know how long you were in Prague, weeks, I imagine, preparing, getting ready to find out what this might have been, since, after all, you strange memories, it seems important. Were there any other skills that you brought to bear, either through Zelenka asking him to do research for you, or that you might have done yourself?
Not that Zelenka is someone that should be doubted, but perhaps reaching my own conclusion about certain things that information that he's provided, and then verifying the information he provided. He's an occult expert, but at the same time, Quinton is now as well. So
let me ask, in this game, there are a number of information-based skills. Everyone has a variety of them. Which information-based skills do you have?
Quinton, for his, are these the academic abilities?
Yes.
Or
well, just it's your information rather than your general.
Okay, so you want like academic and technical, and he is an expert in criminology, defunct and dead languages, occult studies, research, vampirology. He also has a really good bullshit detector. He's charming. He can interrogate. He is intimidating. He can reassure. He is streetwise. Has a little trade craft. Notices things well. Has both outdoor and urban survival. All holdovers from his time as a soldier.
It's important. Yes. Zelenka said grave robbers, break-ins, vandalism. Yes. Was there anything you wanted to do before you got here about that? You checked out the place, yes?
I would say that he probably, if he'd been here for a few weeks before an actual stakeout, there would have been, when during a high day, whenever there was a lot of population there, he would have come in with some of the pedestrians and the mourners and whatnot to just check out the area. And he may very well have tried to come to some type of correlation between the marked stones and the bodies that were exhumed to see if maybe it was not this one, but that one type of deal.
This cemetery is massive. It's vast. There are multiple entrances. This place is ancient, hundreds, centuries old. And it is full of graves that have been here for 500 years, 600 years. This is one of those sorts of cemeteries that you only find in old countries.
This is an old world cemetery.
It is. One of those cemeteries where graves have been worn away with time. Yes, you looked. You searched. You know what seemed to you that the markings were things Zelenka was wrong. Not that it was, well, maybe partially. It seems as if graves dug up, bodies not stolen, coffins broken open, bones left to the moon, to the sun, as if someone was just digging. Different parts of the cemetery. Here, the northern quadrant, southern, eastern, western, different parts. Bloody markings on each grave that is dug up, of course. On others as well. Perhaps trying to find something. What other skills would you use to research the goings-on, the happenings? Before you got here?
Well, everything, because of just his existence now, it would go through the filter of the occult. And if it made it through that filter, then it would drill down to see if it was more the vampire tract than just cult behavior or some other type of necromancy or some other type of if it actually went all the way to the goalpost of vampires. But the first filter would be, is this more than vandalism? And so he would probably check to see if there was some type of ritualistic activity. Were there specific missing bones? Was it just haphazard? What could they be looking for? Are these old graves? Are they new graves? Are they coming from the same time period? Are they the same family, the same line?
Those are interesting questions. I'm going to counter with a few questions of my own. One, this does seem like history, like you're looking for some sort of historical information about this place. Do you have history?
I do not.
Zelenka does, though. Would you have asked about the history of these places? Do you sort of search for patterns? Do you ask him to make sense of these things that you found?
I do. I have to rely on the expertise of others, the things that I don't possess. And to break immersion here for just a second, everybody, this system is incredible because when your character is not skilled in something, you have to have contacts to go to kind of fill in the pie chart of a, you can't min max. You have something that you can do, and other things you can't even attempt. So yes, he definitely would have to, because he has no other recourse. With Zelenka being the expert on this patch of earth,
yes,
he would have to ask. He has other history experts he can ask,
he does.
But nobody that's king of this hill.
Well, this is very difficult to ascertain, because this graveyard is really 12 cemeteries altogether. It is a conglomeration, this necropolis, this fields of the dead is maybe 12 cemeteries altogether. Do you know this place, the Olsani necropolis? Do you know it well? Do you know its history?
I do not.
Oh. Well, the oldest of the cemeteries here dates back to the 15th century. Yes. Do you know, more than 2 million people are buried here? Did you know this?
You learn something every day.
They have plague victims from 1767. Terrible plague came through. Killed so many people here. Fallen soldiers from World War II also here. Yes. So many.
Graves that were unearthed, Zelenka.
Yes.
Are they same family or
no
same time period? Or?
Yes. Old. Do you know, how much do you know about Prague?
A little.
Do you know our history?
It's your history. What I would know wouldn't be your history.
No, that's true. Rudolph II of Prague. He had a noble court. He was a Holy Roman Emperor. He was, 1570s, early 1600s. He was the King of Hungary and also the King of Croatia, King of Bohemia, Archduke of Austria, member of the House of Habsburg. He was from Prague. Some people say he was ineffectual and that what he did led to the 30 Years' War. Some people call him a great patron of the arts. Other people say that he was a devotee of learning. That is thanks to him that we had the scientific revolution. That it was his interest in science that made him great. But At that time, science and the occult were almost the same thing. Strange we call it all science now, when all of our chemists were once alchemists, weren't they? He was interested in alchemy. Just what it said.
What type of alchemy? Lead to gold? Is that what we're talking about?
No. Life and death.
Ah, the other one.
Yes. Yeah. How to stop life, death. Yes. You know, he had many alchemists, great alchemists that came to his court. Yes, scholars, they all came and they studied, and he was their patron. It is said that one of his alchemists, Johannes Sigura, discovered a potion, important, powerful, rare, that would suppress the essences of those who were once dead but walk again. I think you know what I mean.
I do.
Yes, well, it seems whatever is happening, the grave robbers, the criminals, they are digging up at that time. The time.
Are any members of the royal court here? Any of the alchemists?
That's tricky. You see, you said you were looking for something in here, yes?
I am.
What were you looking for? You said it was a tomb.
The Devil's Tomb.
Yes. You said that once to me before. I looked. You know that place, the Devil's Tomb. It's a bit of a mystery, that place. You know, I imagine it's from the time of Rudolph II, in that part of the tomb, but any records to a Devil's Tomb have been lost centuries ago. I cannot... But it is believed that the Devil's Tomb belonged to one of Rudolph's alchemists. Yes. One of them. Maybe. We know from stories I've read, I heard, that the tomb has a single entrance. A wooden door made of hawthorn, it is said. Small, a little wooden door, not much. People think that perhaps there is a crypt beneath this tomb. That's what they say. I think. But I don't know where amongst all of this it might be. Tricky to find. Did you ask about out there in the city, about this place, or all of that?
He smiles a little bit. Zelenko, who out there would know more about this place than you?
I know about this place, but I don't know about crime. There are vandals in my cemetery.
Don't try to stop them.
Did you ask your criminal contacts? They know
I
anything?
could.
Did you?
I certainly could try if
Well,
that's something.
That would have been something you could have prepared.
Sure.
Let me ask you.
Sure.
Who do you know in the underworld? Not that underworld, of course. I meant the criminal kind. Or how do you know them?
I'm trying to figure out how I want to go about this because there's a way of delving into the local criminal underworld to get who could be doing all of this. And then there's the much cleaner internet research and stakeout that you could do, where you could see what the chatter is that could be giving me the information that I need. And
what kind of person is our Archangel?
I think ever since the moment he lost his crew to Sinclaire, he isn't paranoid, but he is just a step to the right from that. And so when in a local region and in country, the lighter the footstep he can leave, the better. So I would think that he would probably go the route of like electronic surveillance, internet.
Oh, but that's not a very light step, is it? I mean, there are programs that search all traffic and data for search terms and words. I mean, you, more than anyone, knows how insecure that sort of searching can be.
Well, then you have to have an expert, and that's not me.
Who did you speak with?
Archangel. I would think that he would use his...
Drug dealer, was it?
No. I would say that...
This is streetwise. That's how you find these things, but I want to know where you went to get these things. How do you get word on the street? What's your way of doing it?
Okay, so...
Because you have the skill, which means you can do it. You don't need a contact. But I want to know, how do you go about on the streets to find things?
I don't think it would be piggybacking off of the police, because it doesn't look as if the police have made much progress in this. As far as you mentioned, there hasn't been a whole lot of activity to thwart these vandals. I think what he would do is he would I think here now, you tell me how to do this, because again, I think this would be more like a disgruntled relative who one of his ancestors was unearthed, and it cost him money. Not that he cares about this ancestor, but the reinterment, it costs money since there's no one to attribute it to, and of course the cemetery is running in the red.
Yes. So do you go to bars? Is this how you hear these talks? Where do you park yourself to sort of...
He goes to the closest, cheapest bar from the cemetery. And because if anybody has ever dug a hole before, especially one 6 feet under.
Oh my gosh, yes, indeed.
When you're done, you're going to need to wet your whistle.
Yeah. Oh, I see. So you spent some time before you actually before this moment, staking out local taverns, bars, pubs in the area, just sitting. What did you look like? Were you in disguise?
Not like...
What did you do?
Oh, absolutely. Of course, both Archangel and I are older.
Yes.
So it's uh, for anybody that has reached this age, you disappear to the younger generations at a certain time. And so he relies on that.
Yes.
Nondescript. Um, if he at any point is the oldest person in the room, he would leave because that's the person that stands out.
Yes.
So he would make sure that he would dress in local custom, as far as just wouldn't wear anything that would give him away as being either military or a specific brand name or anything like that. He's been in country in various parts of the world numerous times, and so here he would just look as local as possible.
Yes, I think that's right. And I think you would have heard the rumors, the complaints. The Devil's Tomb, people say, is in the northern part of the cemetery. That's what they say on the street. I don't know if you heard this, though. It is a rumor that is about, you would have heard it certainly, a homeless man, just cold, took shelter in the Devil's Tomb, it is said, at night. And he was
Where
found
is this
dead
homeless man?
the next morning. That's what they say. The cops say that he froze to death, but that's not what I heard. I heard he was drained dry of all blood by a monster. That's what I heard. And you hear this from more than one person. Lots of people have heard this story. The homeless man found dead, and the police saying it was just hypothermia. People in the scared people, maybe in the bars and the pubs, they say, no, he had no blood left in him at all.
Did he have any known acquaintances, and where was he found?
Somewhere in the north of the cemetery in the Devil's Tomb. Excuse me, Quinton?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I'm looking at our notes. It says something about a wooden door.
It was a small door made of hawthorn.
I'm sorry. Do you want to search your memories to see if you remember anything about that? Do you want to go deep into your memories?
Is it in your notes?
Do you want to look?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I need you to roll cool, your first test before our break.
Okay.
You have 2 dice in cool, of course. When you roll one at a time. Your advance number is a 7. And there is an extra problem available to you if you so wish it.
Absolutely. Let's go with the first.
I'm going to ask you this question first. This is a strategic, tactical question.
Sure.
Would you like to take the extra problem now, or would you like to wait? The difference is, and this is...
if I don't use all of my dice, then I get a bonus for any dice that aren't used,
you get
which
a push.
gives me a pushback, right? Yeah.
Yes,
push
but
an addition.
Yes, so basically, if you choose the extra problem now, you get 3 dice, and that means it's more likely you might be able to hit that number without using all of your dice, in which case you get a push. But then you have the extra problem, or you can wait to decide if you want to use it after you roll your 2 dice.
I think I'm going to take it now, but I need to ask this question. If I reach the advancement, I know that certain times, if you get it, you also get an edge, right?
If you advance, you get an edge, always.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm going to take the problem now then.
I see. Huh. Interesting. That problem, by the way, is called dark thoughts. Would you...
Sounds light.
Yes, it is a shadow problem. Would you perhaps let everyone know what this problem is as you think?
All right, everybody. So dark thoughts is a shadow problem. Cemeteries, crypts, dead things. You feel half dead yourself.
What did you say?
Cemeteries, crypts, dead things. You feel half dead yourself.
Quinton, that's a strange thing to say. Are you...
Read it somewhere one day.
You're going into memories, you see. I see. Well, I feel like this is a moment for you to roll the dice.
Dice. D6 number 1.
D6 number 1. That is a 6. Roll your second. That is a 2. You have rolled an 8. And you have 1 die left over. That means you advance and you gain a push, which you may very well need. Yes. Why don't I hand you your edge that you gain for this, if you want it?
I love the system. Yes, I'll take it.
Yes. Why don't you read this out loud, including the title?
This edge card, Memories of the Crypt Thing. You've got vague memories of a vampire killing monster, locked in a crypt. Discard this card for a bonus die in any fight with said creature.
I'm sorry. I'm looking at my notes here. You didn't tell me about this. These memories. You said you had memories of a monster.
Dead thing.
A dead thing. In this crypt.
Yeah.
In the Devil's Tomb, you said. How did you know this? I don't remember.
It's all coming back to me.
Song. Yes, you always did like to make jokes with songs. It's all coming back to you now. I'm sorry, I don't recall in your records why you would remember this monster, did you? Was it a dream? What are these? Dark thoughts. Your memories are, swimming on my notepad.
Let's grab a paddle.
Yes. Yes. A monster.
A dead thing, but not dead.
No. Wait. It's not a monster, is it? It's, something like you. Maybe. Some sort of monster killer. Maybe. You're watching, yes?
Hunting.
Hunting. Staking it out, this place. Whoever they are, they're digging up graves. They're looking for something. Someone. Maybe. Binoculars? Is that what you have?
A set of them? Yes.
You're By a mausoleum, you said, yes?
Zelenka, yeah.
Zelenka's chattering a bit, not speaking, just his bones rattle. He has a thermos with coffee.
Not just coffee.
No. No. You're watching the northern part, if I remember correctly, from the rumors.
That's where they said they found the homeless man.
Yes. That's when you see movement. Three figures in shadow, heavy, carrying things. You see them head towards the northern part of the cemetery, and they approach an ivy-covered wall. And quickly, they clamber over this wall. Two of them are carrying backpacks, and the third is hauling a heavy, heavy rucksack. Sense trouble, if you would. Your advance is a 7. You may stunt if you like, using cover for disguises or infiltration to stay hidden, or preparedness for a telephoto lens, perhaps. But you don't have to decide if you want to stunt now, or you can wait to roll first. But you need an 8.
I'm gonna stunt then with infiltration to keep myself. Actually, preparedness. I want to glean as much as I can from this group. So this is 3 dice then?
Yes, and I'm going to note this. This is important. This is something that's unique to Night's Black Agent Solo. This is not in Cthulhu Confidential. You can use your non-investigative skills to stunt, to give you a bonus die, but if you do, that skill, preparedness,
It's spent. Yeah.
is spent. You lose 1 die off of that skill until you take time, and when you take time is when they act. You have 3
Right.
dice.
Let's do it.
1. 4 for a 5. 5 for a 10. You succeed, but you do not get an extra push. I'm going to ask you this question. How do you feel when you see them moving?
Are they moving like a team? Are
Yes.
they moving like professionals?
Yes, but not your kind of professional.
Then I'd feel jealous.
You know, the thing about you is that you've always been watchful. You've always looked twice, not just once. Most people look for the obvious, or maybe a little bit less obvious. They move too quickly, you know? They move before they should. You always wait 1 extra beat. A bit of a syncopation, I think. And as you watch these 3 men, you assume, or figures, you don't know, you see them hustling and you spot it. You spot a car. An expensive car. Black. A German plate. And the car is just driving. Nothing particularly, you get an edge by the way, nothing particularly memorable. People wouldn't pay attention probably, except that it slows down as it passes that trio. People wouldn't pick up on it. but it slows down. Very expensive car. And as it passes that trio, it speeds back up again. Would you read that edge?
Suspicious car. It's a clue. There's an expensive car cruising down the street near the cemetery. Something about it is off, and it puts you on your guard. Can you get identifying information from it? License plate?
No, it's too dark. But you know it's a German car. It's a German plates. You can tell it's got the little German, the D sticker on the back. This is a very expensive German car. But the intruders, that's what we're here for, maybe. All three of them are men. They're young-ish. They're all dressed in black. I'm sorry. What was that? The large rucksack, the heavy one. It moved.
He pulls out his gun.
There's something moving inside of that large rucksack. And then you see them drop down the wall inside of that graveyard and vanish into the underbrush. The hunt is on, my friend.
He would turn to Zelenko. Leave, my friend.
Do you want me to stay here? I can stay.
Quickly. Go home. Warm yourself. It's cold.
But I can. Do you want me to come with you?
No. And then he would not clap him hard on the shoulder, but just kind of rest his hand there for a second. Thank you. Go home. But go that way. He indicates the opposite direction.
And Zelenka sort of stands up. Oh, and you can hear his spine and his knees making sounds they probably shouldn't. As he sort of like pulls up a small like messenger bag. And he is about to leave when he turns back to you. And he goes, And he hands you the thermos of coffee and vodka.
This is disgusting and appreciated.
It's cheap vodka, but... And he leaves, leaving you with a thermos full of cheap coffee spiked with cheap vodka. And
he would clip it onto his tactical vest, and like for someone as old as he is for the business, he would push and spring up over the ivy wall, and as he fell down the other side, he would touch his neck and just say, Robin, play something from the playlist.
Robin hears this message and begins computations. Robin, what do you play? Ponder
I can
that.
give you the playlist over the break if you'd like. I'll put it in our chat, Trooper, if you want to give it to everybody else.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And at this moment, Eye of the Tiger is what one of the elements of Robin says. And while you all decide to ponder this playlist, it is time for our break. We are going to take a short break. 10 minutes. Stretch your legs. Hydrate yourself. I will be hydrating myself. And when we return, Archangel has been drawn to this place in hopes for answers. But will those answers be what he's looking for? Let's hope. We will return in 10 minutes. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the second half of Night's Black Agents, The Best of Intentions, Part 1. You know what I didn't do, but I did want to? I wanted to read out our any donation messages we had, which we did have some, and I wanted to thank everyone for that. Thank you. I wanted to thank Drathdeer for their donation of $25. Thank you. Hawkeye, 60 bits, saying, here's towards a great adventure. Rissa donated $20 and said, because Greg is being so gracious to be Trooper's patient zero. Greg and I were talking about plans in the break. And then Time of Gifts, who's wonderful, who also has a weakness for the Holy Roman Empire, said, because who else but Trooper would remember that Prague was once an imperial capital? Yes. Wonderfully played, as always, by Greg. Speaking of wonderful playing, I think it's about time. When we last left off, our protagonist, or tagonist as it might be, saw three men with rucksacks, one of them moving, clamber into the north part of the oldest part of this cemetery and sort of head out. Also saw a car, an expensive German car, probably like a Cadillac of some sort, with a German registration, drive by these three, kind of slow down briefly, and then move onward. The three men did not acknowledge the car, right? They didn't seem to sort of notice it, but the car noticed them. And so, let me ask you, in this moment, with these three people on the other end of this wall, what do you do?
Well, everybody knows that I am a fan of Bruce Willis, who is the face claim actually for Quinton Archangel Gabriel.
Nice.
But there's also, we've talked about it before in Colos, there is a movie, not very good one, with Danny Aiello and Bruce Willis called Hudson Hawk.
Oh, that's a good one.
During an op, what they would do is whenever they were robbing a place, they would pick a song and they would each sing the song to themselves, and they would know exactly how much time and where the other person was according to how long they were in the song. So whatever Robin picked to play on the playlist is what he would delve into, and knowing exactly the second, the beat, the whatever he needed to be here or there, or where he would be in position to the music, in position to the song. But to steal a bit from Oscar, this is where Archangel starts to dance.
Yes. I would like to ask you, how would you like to make your way? How would you like to get towards them? There are multiple options: surveillance, cover, infiltration. What would you like to do? Surveillance tends to be like maybe perhaps the best way to go about it, but I would like to ask you.
I think what he's going to use here is he wants to be able to, especially since seeing the bag move, that's either a very bad thing or a very bad thing. So he wants to close the distance quickly because he needs to get more information so he can act even quicker. If he's learned anything from his dealings with Sinclaire and his kin, fast is better. So I think what he's going to do here is, or what I would like to do here is, I think infiltration, just as quickly as he can, close the distance between them as quietly as possible.
All right. So now I just want to make, just for the record, so far you've sensed trouble. That was your first one. Also cool. So please note your cool, your sensed trouble, those are all depleted by 1 die, and will stay depleted by 1 die until you take time to recover. So you have, by the way, I'm going to make a Roll20 character sheet. I'm going to do it so that you can just tick these things off.
It's perfectly fine. It's cool with sense trouble, and it's also preparedness, because I use that as a stunt, right?
That is correct. And now, infiltration, is that right?
If that's the appropriate one to use. He wants to just, as quickly as possible, almost like he's prepping to breach a bunker or something.
So with that question, I wanted to put on this sound for you. I
don't know. I'm digging it.
I know it's good, right? But I think of what darkness is coming.
I'll take it too.
Yeah. So I'm going to need you to roll.
Sure.
Your advance is 7. Before you roll, some things to note. 1, do you have outdoor survival?
I do.
You get a +2 to your roll.
+2 dice or
no,
plus
just
2?
Just +2 total.
Okay.
There are stunts available. Cover, right, if you like. Or surveillance.
Okay. The possibility exists for a push here to be gained if I don't spend a dime?
That is correct.
Okay. So then I am going to stunt with cover. And so this is him literally like jumping and leaping with the shadows, even the organic shadows. Like if there's a light somewhere swinging as the shadow moves against the side of a mausoleum, he's leaping in the middle of that shadow.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know, it's funny that you said that. Quinton, if I remember correctly, Sinclaire moved from shadow to shadow.
You learn something every day.
Yes. Yes. Roll the first die. You have, at this moment, 3 and a +2. First die's a 4, that's a 6. Not a 7 yet. Let's begin. Let's do this die by die. The 3 men start sneaking through the graveyard. You pick them up. You've lost them for a moment, but you do pick them up. You can see them in the distance, stopping briefly to check their phones, probably maps. They seem to be nervous, on edge. They're quite a bit ahead of you. You can see them moving deeper and deeper into this cemetery. You notice one pulls a crowbar from their backpack, not the large one. And the other one slaps the flashlight into their palm. Just not to get it to work, but to sort of get a sense of its weight, as if that might be protection from whatever's out there. They seem to be on edge, perhaps spoiling for a fight. Perhaps. Tell me with this first die roll, which is an impressive 6, how you track them.
Well, at this point, because of their nervousness and because you mentioned before that they are a team but not professional,
yes,
this all plays into exactly what Archangel does. And so he uses that nervousness, that skittishness to his advantage. And it's almost like he can sense when the one on the right's head will pivot like a lighthouse to check. And he ducks just as that scan passes over, and he's behind a gravestone, the name of the gravestone obscured, but the date of death over his right shoulder. And then without even looking to see if the man's still looking, he just turns and runs, knowing he's already past that scan. And it's just these instincts, these born from a soldier that's become something else. And he's able to make up a considerable bit of distance between them using their fear.
I'm sorry, did you say that you've become something else? Is that what you said, Gabriel?
Did I?
I'm just going to note that down. That's all. Please roll your second die. 4. You have advanced with a die left over, which gives you a push. You are able to intuit the direction, where they're heading. You know where they're going, more or less. And you are able to notice as you maneuver, not getting too close so they cannot find you, that there is a crumbling tomb that they seem to be heading towards. But you get there first. I'm not going to give you an edge card, but what you get is a bonus die on any challenge that involves these three men. Because you are able to get there before they do to this old tomb. Tell me about your setup as you get there before they do.
Judging by their approach and the fact that two are carrying backpacks and the one's carrying the heavy moving rucksack, he would position himself so he would be on the side of the mausoleum that would be the same side as their offhands. So if the person's carrying the rucksack, he would be on the side without the rucksack, so he wants to make sure that he's got the drop on them as far as if they could act quickly or make a move. He wants to set that up, and maybe that's how he gets the bonus die, is that he just gets position. This is the gunfighter that knows to turn shoulder lead to make their frame and silhouette narrower. It's instinctual. He doesn't even think about it. He just finds a dark shadow that fits his geometry and becomes part of it.
And there, deep in the shadow, in the darkness, you watch these three men. They have no idea you are there. And you can hear them talking to each other briefly.
What language?
Italian. This place that you're at, this crumbling tomb, is so overgrown with weeds and ivy that it looks as if this tomb tore itself free from the earth rather than being built. It is got a small stone cupola over what probably is a single main chamber. It's not particularly large. And one single door, wooden, made of hawthorn wood. Old, stained, slightly ajar. The hinge, it hangs though, and there's police tape blocking it off, just hanging from the entrance. And as you get closer and you make your way into this shadow that is your safety, the place where you will hunt these three men, it gets 15 degrees colder in an instant, just like it did once before. As you notice this sudden chill in the air, an unwholesome and unnatural chill. These three men, you notice they've unpacked their bags already, and one of them takes out black candles and lights them. And these black candles give a shadow, a ring of light illuminates this devil's tomb. You, of course, are outside of the shadow light. You are a professional. One takes out a pocket knife and a small book. Second guy, the one who has the huge rucksack, takes out a raincoat, a rain jacket. It's large, it's heavy, and he hangs it on a tree. And then out of that big rucksack, he takes out a cloth bag that's wriggling and hissing. And inside you can hear what you assume to be cats, probably a few of them. And then these three men, with the candles lit, begins to start chanting, reading from the book in Italian. You speak a little Italian, do you not?
He actually speaks just about anything he needs to, plus a couple dead languages.
I thought you did. You seemed, people have talked. There's something in them, and they're chanting about sin defeating death. and then one of them cuts his palm, and he splatters blood onto this book. And then he flicks his hand, and he splatters blood at the threshold of this tomb. And the other one kneels down, holding the bag of cats closed, cursing to himself as like the sharp claws of the cat sort of make its way through this burlap sack and dig into his skin. Do you have notice as a skill?
I do.
I see. I assume you probably are going to act at some point, but before you do, I should say, you notice something. Something bizarre. Perhaps you notice it at first when one brushes past you. A large black rat with beady red eyes just brushes past you, moving towards the tomb. And as you look, there are dozens of these rats, moving as silent as the grave. And this swarm of rats move towards this tomb, and they stay right outside of the light, in a circle around it. The three men don't even notice these rats because the rats are staying just outside of their illuminated vision. And these rats seem to have no fear for whatever cat is in that bag. And they seem to have no fear of you. And these rats watch what is happening. They watch this ceremony. And Archangel, they watch you too.
He pays them no mind. And as soon as the temperature would have dropped, he would touch his throat, and the breath that is frozen that escapes his lips travels farther than the sound that he elicits, but he just simply activates battlefield protocols and says, "Robin, it's on."
And these three men chant, and one of them brings out this cat hissing and fighting and struggling, and he holds this knife aloft, the cat and the knife, as they chant about the devil and about sin defeating death and granting everlasting life. I ask you this. Do you let them complete their ceremony, or do you interrupt them?
With my occult studies, do I know what the culmination of this is supposed to elicit? Is this a sacrificial? Are they asking for something? Is this the eternal life? Is this the take me, make me? Is this a thrall invitation? And this can be occult or vampirology or...
This is strange. From what you can gather, your occultism tells you a couple of things. One, the language in this book. You don't know what's in the book, but you hear them speaking. It is Italian, it is old, but it is not that old. You would guess first half of the 20th century? So this is not some sort of ancient ritual. Although there's some Latin in there, some other things sprinkled in. You recognize a little bit of some texts from Aleister Crowley, Madame Blavatsky. It reminds you a little bit of some of the kind of the spiritualism at the turn of the century. This seems to be a bit of a mix, I would say. It seems on one hand to be asking for everlasting life. That's what it seems to be doing on the surface. But the little snippets here and there seem also to be summoning something. Summoning. Control. This seems to be perhaps some sort of control or compulsion sort of ritual to summon and compel something. Yes. Perhaps more compelling than or controlling. They have not made a circle, which might have been a good idea for them, perhaps. But
it's like they know enough to get them in trouble here.
Yes. Do you wait, or do you interrupt?
Robin, what's the probability of success if I wait?
Robin, you have been summoned. What are the probabilities of success if you wait? Robin is multiple Gestalt AIs, 10 to 1. 10 to 1? Perhaps. Over under, 55%, Robin says. Do you wait? Do you see what this ritual does? Do you interrupt? We will poll Robin. Interrupt or wait. As Robin collates. It takes 1 minute to collate as Robin wonders. 10 to 1.
And this is something that he would have done as soon as he touched his throat and said it's on and saw what they were doing in this that beats, those blinks, and asked the question, do I stay or do I go?
And as you approach these three men, they look young. Maybe college students or college age students, early 20s. They don't look overly rough or overly fancy. They seem to be regular guys. Their Italian is accented. They are probably from here. Maybe not all of them, though. One seems to be Italian. Two seem to be Czech. And so Robin comes back 67%. Interrupt.
He's not going to go guns blazing. But as soon as Robin gives him a 2/3 success is to go in the direction of interrupt, what he does is he reaches down without looking, grabs one of the rats and throws it into the middle of the area, and throws it in a way that it skids into the light, like it's been running.
And this rat, large, sort of is tossed and sort of tumbles, and it stops itself with its claws, and it looks up at you. There is a little bit of chaos from these three men as they're like, "Oh, what?" And one of them has got the cat, drops the cat skitters off into the darkness. And there's a little bit of nervousness and panic as this rat looks at you. Now, they don't notice you. They notice this rat, and they don't know what the rat is doing. And one of them, they speak to each other briefly. What do you with this? Well, I suppose the rat will do. Yeah. And so the one tries to creep up on this rat, the one with the knife. And as if the rat, by the way, the man's creeping up behind the rat so the rat can't see it. Theoretically. Shouldn't be able to see it. And as the man creeps up on this rat, you see the other rats around you twitching their tails, the ones outside of the circle of these black candles. They make no sound. But the rat turns its head, as if it knew exactly where that man was and that it was approaching. And it looks at this man. You can't see the eyes of the rat, but the man backs up. And the rat moves out of the circle as the temperature drops again. The man who had the rat, who was going to get the rat, seems nervous, but the one who's holding the book says to him, "Don't worry about that, just get the cat. We have to finish the ceremony. Sin will conquer death." And the man, uncertain, reaches into the bag to pull out a second cat. There's probably another 2 in there. Pulls it out. Very uncertain at this moment about what to do. The third man sort of taps the heavy raincoat nervously. One of them holds the flashlight, beaming it on the door of this tomb now flicked in blood. The man with the book begins to chant again. The second one picks up the chanting. The third one with the cat, a bit nervously, begins again. Holds the cat down on the ground, raises up the knife, begins to chant. The rats watch. The knife.
Me or them?
3 of them watch you. The others watch the men, but also the door. They have multiple avenues of interest. And the knife glints in that reflection of the dark black candles. It's raised high. In an instant, that knife will plunge down upon this cat. You know, it's only a matter of moments. They have got utter concentration on this ceremony.
He walks out into the light.
They stop. They look at you. One of them says, in check, "Hey, get out of here." And you can see him brandishing that flashlight as if to threaten you. May I ask you at this moment, as this is the first time someone who's not seen you before has seen you, what do you look like as you emerge from the darkness into this candlelight?
He's an old soldier. Shaved head, neck tattoo, depicting more of a mercenary now than typical army. But there's more to it. He doesn't look like Von Helsing or anything like that. He's not decked out in wooden stakes and crucifix and smelling of garlic or any of that. But he looks more. And when he would walk out, he wouldn't say anything, but he would just look at the book. And then look at the door where the blood was, and the open, kind of askew of the hawthorn. And in check, he would say, "What do you want?"
Let me ask you, do you ask an accented check or unaccented check?
This would be accented check.
Which
but
accent?
the accent would be old. One of, if he was able to spin Sumerian into a Czech accent, a dead language's tongue, giving it an infernal inflection, something that has died but is now spoken again.
Do you?
He talks like Sinclaire.
Yes. Quinton.
Yes.
You've studied Sinclaire's voice and his mannerisms.
Yes.
You can't forget his voice, can you?
No. I can't remember my parents' face.
And you can't forget his voice?
No.
I'm taking notes of that. We will discuss this at our next session.
When's that?
Oh. It's not now. I think you've frightened them. And the voice leaves your therapist, and you see these three men, and they've gone pale as they look at you. Are you still carrying your pistol?
It's under his scarf in his tack vest, so his hand's right by it, but it's not out.
And the one with the cat looks to the one with the book for direction, to see what to do.
Okay, he's the one in charge. He turns his attention to the person holding the book.
And they seem uncertain. As you step out, you seem frightening. You seem as if there's something wrong with you. Your language is strange. You shouldn't be here. You shouldn't be here at all.
He repeats, "Sin will conquer death." That same dead tongue, Sinclaire's tongue.
And the one with the book steps very silently forward, and with one motion shoves the fellow with the knife and the cat towards you. And then they begin to run. Not the one with the knife and the cat. He's distracted. He's frightened. He doesn't know what's going on. He just got pushed from behind. He didn't see it coming. And the other two run. And this one with the knife and the cat is there in front of you.
When he pushes, can he grab him and redirect him and throw him into the tomb?
Yes.
He throws him through the ajar hawthorn door.
It's quiet. No, it's not. It's not quiet. You hear a scream from inside the tomb.
That's when he goes in.
Fast or slow?
Fast, like he's always been there. Is it dark inside? I'm assuming it's pitch black inside.
It is.
Well then, he would reach up and activate Robin's night vision enhancement.
When you step inside this small tomb, there's indeed an opening, a stairwell down, dark and deep. And you can see the illuminated blobs of that man that you threw down there tumble down those stairs. He's on the ground somewhere down below. As you, I imagine, do you go down there? Yes.
He does.
As you creep down there, you see him holding a cat. And you see him reach out this cat towards, well, nothing that you can see in your night vision in this pitch black tomb that smells of death. And then you hear the cat, you see the cat floating in the air. And then you see it break. And then you see its blood draining from it into what now becomes clear to you is a body, a standing body. And as the blood of this cat is consumed by this body, the body warms and blood courses through its organs that you can make out in this darkness. And the thing, tall, drops the cat's body and starts to step forward towards this man.
Does it look like the ones I faced in the past? Or is this a different creature? You said it's tall. Tall by human standards or tall by something abnormal? Something I haven't... Sinclaire was in all manner a human looking.
Yes.
And the one that turned to ash, human.
Yes.
Is this that?
No. Tall by human standards. But this thing, it's hard to see, is naked. Is translucent. You can see its organs through its skin. And that's not the night vision filter. It has no eyes. You can see through the filter glass bottles embedded in its skin. Attached to its skin with iron rings. Its entire upper body is covered in these small bottles. Small, very small bottles. Iron rings piercing its flesh. And there are tubes. You can't make out what the material of the tube is through the night vision goggles here in the darkness. But these tubes are going from these bottles into its flesh.
Alchemy bottles?
Yes. Alchemy bottles. The minute you say it out loud, you know it's true. Old alchemy bottles. And this thing is thin. And it steps forward now that it has blood coursing through it. And it moves so fast.
As fast as them?
Yes. And it is immediately upon this man. Not touching him, but so close that it can feel this man's breath on his skin. And this thing, completely hairless, completely naked, completely uncontrolled at this moment. The ceremony was not finished. Sniffs this man, who you can hear is weeping. And he sniffs this man.
You of the court of Rudolph II, Archangel says aloud.
It pulls back. And its head pivots to face you. And then its body pivots to face you. And then the man runs. And this creature is in an instant 1 centimeter away from you.
He doesn't flinch.
And it sniffs you. And it has no eyes. This close you can see just empty sockets. And it opens its mouth, and grub worms crawl out. And there is no tongue. Only decay. And it puts up a hand. One long finger. The long nails. And it reaches this finger out. It doesn't touch you. But it moves downward. And over to the side of your neck where your tattoo is. And it touches your neck. And then it removes its finger as if it touched something unwell. And the thing says only,
he wants to gauge intelligence from this thing.
What skill do you use?
I'm gonna guess here that he's gonna have to go with either occult studies or almost like an interrogation. Not that he's gonna try to press this thing, but he needs questions answered, and he needs to know if this thing is capable or if it's mad, or, the mad can still give pretty good answers. So yeah. He's, once he needs to know where the thread goes from here. Mm-hmm. And this is the Devil's Tomb. And the death of this creature does not help him at this moment. His death obviously doesn't help him either, but he needs to know where the thread goes from the Devil's Tomb. Mm. And so he would say, "Who left you here?"
What language do you speak?
You want to go back to that, would you say 15th century? Was that he would want to go as far back as he could. Mm-hmm. And again, having the languages at his disposal, he would try to put it as colloquially in that tongue and time period as he could for the region. So, as if he were in the court of Rudolph II.
Let me ask you a question. Do you have upon you any banes or vampires?
And again, not to break the immersion, but I did what you told me, and I read nothing about what works and what doesn't work or any of that stuff. So
this would be what you might believe would be a bane.
Right. The only thing that I think he would rely on, instead of housing clips, which he has extra ammunition on him, his ammunition is blessed and silver dusted. He has vials of Vatican City holy water, which he doesn't really think works. Mm-hmm. And the thing that he knows works is that Eastern Orthodox, it's a fat blade that tapers at about 8 inches that he used to dust one and vapor another.
That blade, tell me about it.
It looks rough. It's not hammered and folded well because the person that made it didn't want to desecrate it. It was already ornamentation from a church that was warped by the heat of explosions during a shelling, and it just formed just enough of a blade and an edge that it took the shape of a weapon.
I'm sorry, where did you say it came from? When did you say it came from?
I think it was Constantinople is what they told me.
You said the Holy Roman Empire, didn't you?
Yeah.
I see. And where did you find it?
It's given to me.
Who gave it to you?
The one that fell before me.
Ah. Interesting. You don't say their name.
No.
No.
Someday I'll be the one that fell before the next.
Yes. This being senses that blade upon you. And as it leans closer to you, you can hear the tinkling of the alchemist bottles, and you notice some sort of liquid in them. What liquid, you don't know.
Flowing out or in?
In. Not much liquid left, though. Just some bottles are more full than others. But it seems as if it's been a long time slowly leaching these fluids from these bottles into this creature. And the creature puts its hand out and places its hand where the blade is. Is it sheathed?
The handle would be seen, and again, the handle isn't a separate piece that was added to the blade. It is part of what was the metal, but it's wrapped, and the wrap that's around it isn't leather, it's burial cloth, pulled tight, and it's not frayed somehow, and it's still very white. And that's all he would see, is this kind of white, ivory-esque burial hilt wrapped handle.
This creature, will you give me a push?
Sure.
I would say, what are your interpersonal skills?
Oh, they're great. I have a bullshit detector. I have charm. I have interrogation, intimidation, reassurance, streetwise, and tradecraft.
This would be reassurance. This thing that is so close to it, you can see through your filter that its skin is paper thin, but looks can be deceiving. And you can tell underneath it there is a capacity for violence. And this thing places its hand on the hilt of this dagger. And then he takes his other hand and slides it around the small of your back and pulls you in close into an embrace. The blade still in its sheath. And you can feel pressed against you these alchemist bottles as it embraces you tightly. The bottles making strange sounds as they hit your tack vest. And this being, to answer your question, is very intelligent. You cannot see intelligence with eyes because it has no eyes. But it leans into you, and it places the remnants of its mouth on your cheek, as if to give you a kiss. And then it moves, and it places the remnants of its mouth on your other cheek.
Is this in a greeting, a court greeting?
Yes. Too intimate, but it is a court greeting. It is something not for strangers, but for someone you know.
is the custom to return that action?
Yes.
Archangel will.
You return
In the same manner.
It pulls out the blade as it steps back, not too far. It does not slip out of your reach. And it observes this blade. It turns it over. It kisses both sides of this blade, and then returns the blade to your sheath. And then it steps 2 steps away. And then it turns its head up the staircase. And at the top of the stairs, all of the rats observe everything. And then in a flash, this creature, person, moves. You just notice that it has no clothes, all long since gone. But it does have all of these chains, these links, these rings, these tubes, and a small chain of office, heavy iron links with a small symbol on it, like a disc, a court. You would not forget this if you saw it again, as this thing slides as if fluid out and up the stairs, and the rats skitter. It happens in a half a second, and this thing is gone. And you are in this tomb. What do you do?
It's for anything that would lead him to the next spot, because this isn't even a knot in the thread. This is a whole different cloth.
Yes. You search this tomb, the Devil's Tomb, and this thing, whatever it was, person, someone like you maybe, somehow, seemed to have been awake for not too long. There's evidence of movement, but it seems like it has not been... The evidence of movement is fresh. Maybe a few days. Something has woken it.
Is there evidence of that? Is there evidence of what awoke it? Is there evidence, too, of who this was?
No. But the necklace, the chain, if you did research on it, it seemed that chain was unique. If you looked at, say, paintings perhaps of the court of that time period, courtiers, you would probably identify who this was. What happened to them? Maybe. I'll give you another bit, some history, some research. Contacts. Yes, but it seemed to you, you have a cult, yes?
I do.
Someone had experimented on him. It did not seem to you, looking as it left, and you saw bottles on its back as well as its front, that this person did this to themselves. That this was done to them somehow.
But the bottles themselves were old.
Yes. And the wounds, you were so close. The wounds were old. These bottles were embedded into this being centuries ago. This being has been here. And someone has been searching for it. Those 3 men. And that reminds you of those men upstairs. You freaked them out. They probably dropped things.
I was going to say he's going to go up because you said they didn't take the backpacks or the rucksack. So yeah. He was going to go up and check that as soon as he cleared everything here. Now, I have a question. I was gifted an edge that would give me a bonus against the dead thing, which I'm assuming is what I just looked at.
Yes.
I was hoping when I received that I wouldn't have to use that bonus in a fight against the dead thing. Is there a way that I could use that edge to glean any additional information simply because in peace times, advancements are made?
What I would say is you should probably keep that edge.
Okay.
That dead thing left you alive. It's not the first time that's happened. It was intelligent. And it seemed to... something about you seemed interesting to it. Something about your neck seemed distressing to it.
There was a great quote from this season of The Boys. It said, I'm not letting you live, I'm keeping you alive.
Yes. Up at the top, there is a printout of a map with all the streets around the graveyard. And the very long lost and unknown Devil's Tomb is marked with an X. There's a book.
He dropped the book, right?
He did. The book is called The Goat Path. It's old. It's from, I'd say, the 1930s. It's Italian. And the author's name is Ciro. S-I-R-O. And there's a blurry photograph of him on the inside of the cover. It's a young man, curly-haired, saturnine features, very delicate, but with a very cruel smile. And the prose is, the brief look, awful. And by awful, I don't mean like it's horrendous in terms of terrors. I mean, it's not well written. It's got a bunch of different sort of occult bits and pieces that you recognize from different sort of occultists from like the 20s and teens. And then there are a couple of other things mixed into this book. Bits from 16th century alchemical texts. Of course, something stolen from Elsa Crowley. And some ramblings from the author saying about sinning, how sinning is virtue. It is virtuous to sin, and that it is idiocy to have a conscience, that only by losing your conscience can you become truly free. And it seems you'd have to go and actually sort of take time to really study this book to give it, to really get into the depth of it. But it seems as if it's arguing that if you commit every possible sin that exists and indulge in every advice that exists, only then can you embrace all the possibilities of life. And one of the possibilities of life would be to never die. And so, by indulging in all things evil, you should be able to conquer death. You have a cult, yes?
Yes.
Do you know occult books well?
Recently learned. So this isn't something that he would have known 6 years ago,
Yes,
but starting
yes.
5 years ago, he's a new student.
I see. Quentin, tell me, how extensively have you researched the occult in these past 5 years?
Um, More extensively than most, and of those that know it, I am the weakest mind.
I don't recall. Did you travel and look at bookstores, occult bookstores, archives?
Initially, until I realized that was all bullshit. It was watered down. It was, for every 100 pages there was a sentence or a paragraph that held truth. So I needed to cut to the quick. I needed something to filter out that. So I talked to my friends, Mendel, Rabbi Morin.
Yes. He taught you about bookbinding, did he not?
Yes.
This book. You recognize the binding, do you not?
I do, yeah.
Yes, yes. Milan. I think you would say that it was self-published. Yes. Yes. You'd never heard of Ciro, I don't think. I recall your memories. Yes. Oh. You could study this, perhaps. Oh. What is that there? I should let you look. Over there. The raincoat. Smells strange. I don't like it. I will, perhaps see you another moment.
He goes over to the raincoat. Back in the necropolis.
It's heavy, thick, stiff oilcloth. Seems as if it would easily conceal or disguise that creature. But there is something in the pocket. By the way, I'm going to give you an edge. That's this.
Like edges.
Yes, this edge is. You may read it out loud if you like.
This edge is the goat path. It is a clue. You've read a disturbing, if incoherent, book about demons and vampiric enlightenment written by an occultist called Ciro
Cafone.
Cafone.
Yes, Ciro Cafone. Strange. And in this pocket, there is an alchemical bottle.
The same? And is this one full?
This one is full.
Mm.
Not the same.
New? Like more recently blown, like a glass more.
Yes. You know, you had your night vision goggles on, so you couldn't see particularly well, but the fluid in the bottles on the person, alchemist maybe, seemed to you translucent, clear. You couldn't tell the color, but it seemed to you to be something more like water. Maybe not, but something clear. You smelled a whiff of rose, perhaps. This is not clear. It's dark, red, viscous, and it smells of iron. Sweet. Familiar? It's blood,
He'll
of
keep
course.
it.
Let me ask you a question.
Sure.
Is this familiar to you because you've been in battle often and smelled blood often, or is this familiar to you for some other reason?
I think that blood would have taken on a new meaning for him 5 years ago, because before it was the end of a conflict, and now it represents the beginning of one.
There's something else, though. This blood. It smells delicious.
He'll keep it.
Yes. There's a ticket in the book. Bookmark, really.
Where to or where from?
It's a library card. Paper, right? To a university. It's old, though. 2 years, perhaps? 2-3 years. Emil Sokol. And it's to get access to I don't know, you know, actually you've done this before. To get access to special collections, normally you have to get a ticket, you know, like a special card to get access, which does not last forever. This one has long since expired 2 years ago, as I said, but it was made out to Emil Sokol, University of Prague Special Collections. Rare book. Yes. Yes. Those fellows, though, you saw their faces. You could describe them. You could. If they're involved in this sort of a thing, you could probably track them down. It would take time. Shoe leather, of course, but you could ask about it. You could probably find them. Study the book, that might help. Give you some insight. Yeah. But it's
on
late.
The car.
The car. Yes. The rats, by the way, are gone.
He leaves the coat, but he puts it down in the devil's tomb.
Do you go home, or where do you sleep? Where do you go?
This would probably be, we always must remember that in a prior life, Archangel was a CEO of a very bloodthirsty company.
Yes.
And so safe houses would have existed at one point.
Yes.
Whether or not they passed into another's hands. This one, however, would be not necessarily run down, but a forgotten place. This is a kind of a loft accessible only from an adjoining building that has been sealed off from the rest of the house in which it occupies, the house below it vacant. So it's a good safe house because it's forgotten.
As you make your way to your safe house, you probably think about safe houses. Those goons, cultist Satanists, undoubtedly have one. Someone must have seen them come in and out. You should be able to find it, probably. You know, you should probably sleep to restore your energy. Yeah? Probably a good idea. taking some time. Yes. Tell me something. Before you lay down to go to sleep to refresh, restore all of those skills you've depleted, what are you thinking about?
It would probably be a habit of him now to not think about anybody that is gone and not think about anybody that he would consider a friend that is left. If both of them are absent from his mind, the dead cannot hurt him and he cannot hurt the living. So he would probably think about Zelenka, about the shitty coffee and shittier vodka he has that he's probably finished to go to sleep. He'd probably think about Robin and the songs that they play. Mostly about Robin. Somebody, his only friend that they can't touch.
I have something to tell you. How many burner phones do you have?
Well, like anybody, any good former ghost worker, he probably has at least one. I'm going to say that Archangel would probably have two, always one to use, and then one in case he needs it before he can get another burner.
The second one buzzes.
Well, that's interesting.
It's a text.
He would look at it.
It's one of your contacts. One of your contacts has texted you right before you're about to go to sleep. You know that moment right before sleep takes you? The little buzz of the phone hits you. Tell me, this contact, Angela Coleman, if I remember correctly, that was her name. I believe that was the case. Yes, Angela Coleman. She was reliable, helpful. Oh, what was she doing? She was a cardiologist, a doctor in London. Yes. Yes. I think you met her once or twice. I think she was married to someone that you knew. She messages you, and this text says, Q, there's some reporter who's been asking about you all over. Her name is Helen Slane, and she's been asking me all sorts of questions about you. She asked me, and this is a series of texts, Angela writes these little short texts, not one big long one, but these little short texts. So, the number is quite large. And she wanted to know if I'd spoken to you. I didn't say anything. She said that you were dangerous and that you were involved in human trafficking. And I'm going to give you a problem card, if you don't mind. And that
I don't like those.
Oh, I do. The problem card, if you might read it out for our friends and family.
Ugh, the worst kind of reporters. Troublesome reporter. You're being chased by a reporter who wants a meeting with you. If you don't take the meeting, then at the end of the scenario, swap this card for problem 48, badly burned.
Yes.
Well, shit.
Yes. And Angela, who's in London, says, she said she was coming to find you. And that you should contact her immediately. I didn't give her your number.
He would just type back, thank you.
Helen Slane. I have a question for you. Do you, before you fall asleep, you have a book to read and you have a goon to track down, to ask about in the streets? Somebody like that, probably, you can find him. Do you look up this reporter at all?
He'd have Robin run a search for a Helen Slane.
I see. What skills are you relying on here? Speaking to your contact, of course. Robin, I'll give you a card. But Robin, of course, absolutely has traffic analysis. That is a skill that Robin has, 100%. Research as well. But let me ask you, what are you looking for?
Okay, see if you can follow me here. She claimed she was a reporter.
Yes.
The first thing that he would ask Robin to do is verify that that's the truth. So bullshit detector. See if he could, if she's just fronting, if she's reporter's just a good thing to call yourself when you want people to get skittish or give answers that they don't think will jeopardize their lives. Assassin comes off a lot worse when you want to ask questions.
She is a reporter.
For?
She's a reporter for the London Times. And what you can tell through Robin, thank you, Robin, is that she has been investigating human trafficking, international human trafficking, for a number of months now. You see some stories about women and children being kidnapped and sold into slavery. She seems to be investigating some of the criminal trafficking circuits that are taking people from Eastern Europe to Western Europe. You see evidence that she's been in places. You see her social media. Let me ask you a couple questions. Where did you go? Where were you when you were researching the Devil's Tomb? What city was that?
I would guess that he would be all over.
Yes.
But probably the hubs, London, Paris.
Mm-hmm.
If it took him to Italy, maybe even some of the not necessarily the like the scroll tomb proper, Vatican City, but something along the lines of they're more accessible histories.
Where were you 3 months ago? What city?
Let's say Paris.
Paris. In her social media, she was in Paris 3 months ago. Where were you 2 months ago?
Let's say Berlin.
She was in Berlin 2 months ago, investigating human trafficking. Where were you 2 weeks ago?
Oh, that would be getting ready to come here. So, let's say Vienna.
She was in Vienna, investigating human trafficking 2 weeks ago. Where are you where is she right now? Her last post.
I'm guessing she's right here.
She's in Prague. Yes. And that is where we're going to end our episode for tonight. You see her smiley face?
Shit, I'm ready to go for another couple hours.
I know. We're going to have to wait till next Friday when you have, at this moment, a troublesome reporter. You have some
dark thoughts.
Some very dark thoughts. You have got this strange figure who I believe you suspect is an alchemist of some sort. Living, not living, who is out in the night. Somebody was trying to control this alchemist that you maybe remember in your dreams. Maybe. Was it your dreams? It's unclear. But you have a book. You have descriptions of some goons that you can probably... They do not seem to be exceptionally competent. You could ask around the streets, see if you can find out where you might be able to find them, where they're hiding. Maybe find out a few other things. And of course, Helen Slane has been trying to find an international human trafficker who it seems is you.
They must be worried if they're throwing me under the bus and turning me into a human trafficker.
Who would have done that?
Who would have?
Indeed. Well, you know that she contacted one of your contacts. Maybe she contacted others. Who knows how much she's been asking about, how widely. She doesn't seem to be covering her tracks, though.
Yeah, that's deliberate.
Yeah. So, my friend, this is the end of part 1 of Best of Intentions. And I'm going to let you know, next week, it's your investigations, my friend.
Woo.
Could I get, if you don't mind, who you are, where we can find you or your son, and, tell me what, at this moment, Quinton is thinking. And what do you think he's going to do next as he falls off to sleep? And I'm sure those dark thoughts will not give him any bad dreams.
Right. I mean, what's the difference between waking and asleep for Quinton at this point? Hi, everybody, I'm Grimjack21502. Tonight I'm playing Quinton, Archangel Gabriel. I had an absolutely fantastic time. This system, I strongly recommend players and GMs to pick up this lovely text right here, the Knights Black Agents Solo Ops.
Yeah,
it is a fantastically cool narrative driven, as you could see, system that doesn't allow you to fail on stupid things. I don't mean stupid, I mean just like, you don't make an athletics check to step off the curb type of stuff. You are a specialist, but the great thing is you're not great at everything. Thus comes in the contacts, thus the banter between GM and player, which is fantastic. And I mean, honest to goodness, who better to spend an evening doing this with than my buddy Trooper, who just took all my crazy stuff that I threw at him and made it crazier and cooler. And I absolutely, absolutely love playing and being here on the Foxhole. Everybody, if you want to check out anything on social media, check out my son. He does the Awkward Teenagers podcast. He recently had a super cool guest that was me. So one of the last episodes is me waxing ecstatic about how great he is and talking about fun things to do as your kids get older, as you get older. But it's great. It's fun. If you want to look into the mind of two very, very fantastic teenagers and human beings, please check them out. Community, you are the best. I'm not allowed to look at chat because you all were Robin. Thank you so much for being my real-time orbital battlefield intelligence network and allowing me to have some help and some backup. You all are brilliant. You always help me out in Colos, and I knew I needed backup. So Robin was born, and I love you all for being here and sticking around with us for this time. I cannot wait for next week.
Side note, when Robin's up, Archangel can see chat. So if Robin has important things to tell our agent, like look behind you, just let him know. But he has to pull up the interface in order to do so. Otherwise, he cannot see you. But once he does, then teamwork makes the dream work. Speaking of DreamWorks, I have some questions about people from your past, but I suppose we'll just find out later.
I guess.
Yeah.
So you asked what he was thinking of when he was going to sleep. I would say that, again, he keeps the living out of his mind, so he isn't a danger to them. He keeps the dead out of his mind, so they're not a danger to him. But he would focus his attention on this Helen Slane, because who cares if they do anything to her if they see it in his mind. So he's just with that face that he probably pulled up on Instagram or something like that.
Oh, and she's smiling. She looks to you to be young. Like, I would say, ooh, now let me think. She's a reporter. She's working on human trafficking, international, probably run afoul of the Russian mob if she gets too far into this. I would say she's probably fresh out of college by a year or two. So she's probably 25. 24, 25. She's got one of those sort of like, I can't remember the name of them is, like one of those like scarves, that she's got. She looks a little boho. She looks quite idealistic and driven. She looks like she's probably seen some bad things, but not enough to make her quit just yet.
I would like to think, and if this is me overstepping, I would say that maybe her picture from Berlin.
Yeah.
Since we're in autumn right now, like you said, this is like an outdoor cafe right along one of the parks, and she's sitting there taking a selfie. And just in a blurry corner in the background, you see a man with a neck tattoo taking a drink of coffee.
Yes. And I will say this, she doesn't see him, right? She's trying to find you. And I will tell you what, there are a lot of selfies, and she seems like she goes to cafes, she takes selfies. Her personal like Instagram has a lot of kinds of things 25-year-olds put on their Instagram. Food, what she's drinking. You know what I mean? Like there's like it's very mundane in its own way.
I want to see her alt account. That shit's lit.
Yes, it is. Oh my goodness. So I want to sort of thank everyone who's given tips and bits. Thank you very much. I am going to send out an email for something later. We'll see what we can do. But I will tell you this. This is a great system. The changes they made for solo ops are amazing. I love the fact that when you use your skills, you degrade them. And you have to rest in order to get them back. It's just that when you rest people or things,
the world keeps moving.
The world keeps moving, and then they do stuff, And right now, our hero has a shadow score of 2. I'm just going to note that. We have 3 things. injuries, shadow, and heat. Right now, we've got a shadow score of 2. We'll find out what that does next week. And until then, my friends, my very best Greg ever, we will catch you all. I'm TrooperSJP. I forgot I should say that. I'm TrooperSJP. I'm the GM. I am very excited for this. This is a bunch of loveliness. You can catch me today's Friday. Tomorrow at noon, I'll be playing the Outer Worlds over on my channel, noon Eastern. But on Sunday is a big RPG day. So Sunday at noon on my channel will be the second half of Spy Team 67, a 1960s exciting espionage excitement with like a full-on British cast, and me doing bad accents. They're doing good accents. I'm doing bad ones. And then I'll be playing some Call of Cthulhu off stream. And then at 8 p.m. Over at Praxagor, this Mephorius channel, will be the season finale of Witcher Road's Home, where everything will be fine. Other than that, you can catch me on Wednesday over at not this Wednesday, I don't know if we will see. Lindy's traveling, so Laugh Love Lindy maybe we'll be doing Upon the Hexhamshire Moors, a Good Society game at 8 p.m. on Wednesday. We will see. But other than that, you'll catch up with us, and you will catch us all for more Night's Black Agent solo ops on Friday, when our hero does some stuff, maybe interview some people. We'll find out. All right, everybody, take care. Oh wait, I have a foot pedal for this. Bye, everybody.